Hello, I'm Sujal and I will be documenting a process of making tofu from carlin peas, which I've got right here, also known as black badgers or forbidden cocoa puffs. I'm not going to be meticulously recording everything I do, but I am going to show you all the steps. This is inspired by Mary's test kitchen of soy-free tofus, high-protein, low-carb tofus, using different beans. So, I am curious to see if this will work. I reckon it will, because there has been high success rate among peas in particular, and including chickpeas as well. So, fingers crossed. I did buy these for 19 pence per 500 grams, so they are a bit out of date, but at least I can have an excuse if it doesn't work. So, I'm doing this in 2 batches, and I calculated about 15 cups of water per 600 grams of dried carlin peas, which is how many I started off with. It doesn't matter how they've exactly soaked up an amount of liquid. So I'm just doing this 2 times, and then putting it through a strainer. Okay, not gonna lie, that blended in a lot more time than I wanted it to. Maybe it needed to soak for a little bit longer, but it's been 8 hours, so as long as it's strained it should be fine. So I strained the first bit. I reckon that while the Sokara is pretty, it may not have been blended enough, so I'll just see what it's like blending these ones, about half of what I did originally, so 150 grams of those each. Right, so I'm not going to get enough time this afternoon to cook these, but what I'm doing now is, now that they have been squeezed through nut milk bags, I'm going to let them just rest because they have a lot of starch and the starch falls at the bottom. So I'm going to transfer to these glass bottles over there once the starch has settled at the bottom, and then I can funnel it and then scoop it out. I normally freeze the starch left over. When I'm able to, I will then cook it, but it will be resting for a little bit. Maybe more starch could float to the bottom in the bottle, yes. Also, I got that much okara. Right, morning and the next day. I didn't have enough time to cook these yet, but that means overnight in the fridge, they have separated into about 2 layers, not on all of them. Some a little bit more distinct, but as you can see here, there's a layer here. I reckon this is a mix of milk and starch because it's not completely white. So that tells me that pretty much all the starch is gone from the top layers of these. There's some here. There's white starch at the bottom. So yeah, I am going to cook them now. Put them in 2 pots because I don't have a crock pot. I estimate about 3,000 milliliters to 4,000 milliliters. I'll measure it, but I'm looking forward to the cooked product, and hopefully filtering is easy. Right, strained all of it. So this one has all of the carlin pea milk that had a more distinguished layer at the bottom, and this one is full of the one that did not have that distinct layer, but a more heavier starch layer at the bottom. They both have heavy starch layers. You can see here which one have the distinct layer. What I'm going to do is just shake them up and then pour them in a bowl and then isolate them again and then freeze the starch, because it's just a little bit less wasteful that way, and I'll find a use for it. So I'm going to cook these, and it's good to have that control as well of the separation. So to be expected, the smaller pot with more liquid, it is a little bit lower in temperature than the bigger pot with less liquid. So I just have to be conscious of the temperature of each one, and I'm going to have to keep stirring each one at the same time, so that's probably going to cause a bit of a mess, but fingers crossed. Right, oopsie. It's not too bad, but I got it down to a lower temperature quicker when I saw it bubbling, and this is not bubbled up yet, so I'm just going to increase the temperature. So I just got to find a happy medium for each one to boil for about 5 minutes and then simmer for 10 minutes. So I got 2 spatulas, and it doesn't really matter about the control anymore because I had to put some in that one. It's not the end of the world, and it's going to be the same tofu anyways. So what's also cool is, or just good to know, is that the milk is like getting a little bit more translucent and also more grey than it was like a sort of caramel sort of colour. So it's gonna still be a cool looking tofu, I reckon. So it's been boiling for about 5 to 10 minutes. It's like grey alien milk, and the smell, it's really savoury. It smells like stuffing, really, like a mix of savoury and like grainy, which is peculiar. I reckon it will smell a bit different once it's fully cooked with another 10 minute simmer. It takes about 20 minutes to cook any sort of legume milk, but I'm going to turn up the heat, I reckon, just so it's lightly like simmering. I'm going to prepare the coagulant and see you in a bit. Carlin P. U-bar. Look at that. These are fully cooked now. I got my coagulants prepared over there, and I tried the curd skin, like the yuba, and it is so savoury. Like, I'd say a bit more savoury than chickpea. It's so cool, honestly. So I'm gonna try these and update you. So, not that it makes much of a difference, but I'm going to try the one from this pot. Oh, that's thick and rich. It literally, it's very pea, and as a result, I mean, it's very savoury, very sort of musty. It's got a really rich flavour. Like, a little bit of grassy. I imagine, like, if you were to use, like, green peas, it would be a lot more grassy, but still, like, sweet. There is a hint of sweetness to this. Trying the other one now. Yeah, more of the same. Oh, this is going to be delicious. Like a very, very dinner. It's very dinner-like. I love this. So I'm going to coagulate it. It's a bit difficult to film the coagulation process, but I just gradually add the coagulant at a certain temperature, and then just rest it for 15 minutes. When it starts to curdle, I'm going to weigh it first though, see how much yield I have. Here we have 2,000 grams, so 2 milliliters of cooked carlin pea, black badger milk. I love the name black badger. It's like no animals involved, but calling it black badger because that's what the legume is called. And I think of my daddy Nikolai krol. It's time to coagulate it now after straining for a bit. I'm probably going to just like coagulate the whole thing because it's a bit too savoury, I feel like, for plant-based use, like milk uses, like soy. So I'm going to curdle the whole thing, really. Oh my goodness, I use about 10 grams of gypsum in this because it's about double what I usually coagulate. So now that there's curds forming, there's already sort of quite a good separation, I am going to turn the heat off. Actually, let's just take the temperature again. Yeah, that's a good temperature. And then just let that rest for 15 minutes with the lid on. And I can't wait to see what comes out of this. I hope it will tofu really well. Fingers crossed. It has been a bit longer. Whoops. Only by like 30 minutes, but let's have a look now. Okay. So it's quite clear. Let's have a Oh, see that? It's like separated from the pan. I'm actually quite hopeful. Right, let's just have a look here. That's decent. Yeah, I mean, like, I was expecting some, like, curd formation. Not to the extent of soy, but this is still workable. It's just that I need to get a fine mesh strainer. But yeah, I'll prepare my tofu mold and get that sorted. Yeah, seems to be holding together pretty decently. Definitely press into a lot better of a mass. It's sort of similar to chickpeas that I've done before, and it turned out really dense and firm and not like stodgy, so yeah, I have high hopes. Right, that was irritating, but I got all of the curds. It got really wispy at the end. I'm just going to leave those in there, there's no point. It'll add like maybe 3 grams. And this is the way. I'm going to put this in a bottle, but I am also going to give that a little taste test. I'll have I'll just put a teaspoon. I reckon it will taste similar to the whey. I mean the curds. And like savoury. Yeah, that's really nice. It's a little bit more savoury than the actual curds themselves. The curds themselves are like kind of earthy and slightly sweeter. That was like in your face, like savoury. So I'm definitely going to be using that. And that's the starch. I'm just going to freeze that. Transfer that to a bottle. Put that in the fridge. And I will see you when it's fully set, hopefully. Oh, I'm so excited. Hello. So, I'm going to reveal how my Black Badger carlin pea tofu has turned out. So, haven't felt it yet, but it is decently firm. It feels like it's got some bounciness to it. Always a good sign. So, I'm going to unwrap it and weigh it and cut it and see what it looks like on the inside. Okay, so it seems like here, don't know if you can see it very well, but we've got 370 grams of tofu. That's with the cloth, so give or take, it's going to look so awkward. Right, taste test. Okay. So it's very, very, very creamy. It's not as firm as normal soy tofu, which is to be quite expected from a different food entirely, but what I have here isn't necessarily disappointing. 338 without the cloth. And here's what it looks like on the inside. So I am going to display my estimated macros for this whole block of tofu of 610 grams worth of dry carlin pea black badger weight in 3, 2, 1. I added a timestamp if you didn't want to look at that, wasn't interested or wasn't helpful to your journey, but it's useful for mine, so I hope that it is for some of you lot. But I recommend this carlin pea black badger tofu. I think that it could make like a very creamy spread. It could also hold up in air frying, I reckon. So it's not completely out of the question on whether it's worth it or not. That being said, I think I'm the first person to do this with carlin peas. Hey, maybe it might be better if it's not expired, who knows. But thank you for viewing this documentation of this black badger carlin pea tofu, low carb, high protein tofu. I hope that you learned something from this video. Maybe you feel inspired to try other beans. I may be posting more soy alternatives because it's just fun. I really like making tofu and other plant-based protein foods. So maybe there'll be another one. Bye.